Well, the city of Montreal used to be a really tough place for the Pittsburgh Penguins to win. Ever since they moved from the old Forum to this building, the Bell Center it's called now, Penguins have been much more successful, and they're actually 3-0-2 in their last 5 visits to Montreal. So they've gotten points in 5 straight games here. Such a different dynamic for the Penguins as they play the Canadiens on their home ice. On the other hand, it's always difficult because there have been a lot of overtime games and a lot of thrillers here for Bob and me to call when the Pittsburgh Penguins have met the Montreal Canadiens. And there's really no atmosphere like the one here at the Bell Center in the National Hockey League. Over 20,000 fans on hand for these games. And it is very much like a religion. Kind of compare it to what it's like for Pittsburgh and the Steelers. That's the way it is for the Montreal Canadiens and their fans. And they really love the Canadiens, who have not won a Stanley Cup since 1993. And would love to do that again. I'm sure Michel Therrien would love nothing more. First things first for him, just to beat the Penguins here tonight on their home ice, Bob.
Yeah, second time around for Therrien. 24 Stanley Cups for the Montreal Canadiens, 3 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Chris Letang coming back. Family all over this building here. This is a big thing for the guys that grew up in Montreal. As you said, it's like a religion up here. So it's going to be an exciting game here. And last year, Brandon Sutter was able to finish it with a big goal that really turned the Pittsburgh Penguins seasons around.
Rivers Casino brings you the tips to win, and Bobby compiles those for every game. Bob?
You got to use the wall. Keep the puck out of the middle. Penguins not that good, as Dan Potas talked to Orpik about that. Transition, really good last night, especially on the power play. There's Brandon Sutter we speak of, part of 4 lines. Vitali, get those guys involved in the hockey game early. You need 4 lines to win.
Well, we're moments away from the drop of the puck, and of course, one of the other great things about coming to Montreal is listening to the national anthems here. They always make it so exciting. So let's do that right now and just enjoy it along with us as we hear the Anthem of Canada, O Canada, and the Star-Spangled Banner.
Mesdames, Messieurs, veuillez maintenant vous lever, retirer chapeaux et casquettes pour l'interprétation des hymnes nationaux. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise, remove your hats and caps for the singing of the national anthems by Mr. Charles Prévost-Linton, accompagné à l'orgue par Madame Diane Bibeau.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and of the home of the brave. Oh, Canada, terre de nos aïeux, franc et saint, de fleurs glorieux, car ton bras sait porter l'épée, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard.
Saturday night hockey in Montreal, Quebec. A little snow flurries falling today, and the Santa Claus parade up St. Catherine Street. What a great place to visit, and we're happy to be here for the only time this year. The Montreal Canadiens will visit Pittsburgh twice. So let's savor it. Let's enjoy it as the Penguins meet the Canadiens here. And Marc-Andre Fleury loves playing in Montreal, our Kia starting goaltender.
And there he is, 13 wins, one shy of Corey Crawford's 14 to lead the National Hockey League. Marc-Andre Fleury getting the day off last night. Carey Price, he didn't play against the Capitals last night. 8-8-2, and there is Michael Therrien looking pretty dapper behind that Canadian bench.
His record 12-9-2, 26 points. Trying to get to the top of the Atlantic Division. Dan Bylsma has 5 wins in Montreal. That's more wins than the first 13 Penguins coaches combined. That's how hard it used to be to win in Montreal. The referees tonight are Paul Dvorsky and Chris Rooney. Michel Cormier and Johnny Murray are the linesmen. Sidney Crosby to take the opening draw against Thomas Plekanec. And Plekanec wins it back on defense to Alexei Yemelin. And an icing call right away against the Canadiens, and they'll bring it back to the Montreal zone. Bobby?
There's our Toyota lines, Malkin, Jokin, and Neal as you look up top on the left. And there was 75 face-offs in the game between the Montreal Canadiens and the Capitals last night. It was a long hockey game in Washington.
Crosby with Kunitz and Dupuis reunited. An injury to Bo Bennett. Bennett was playing on that line for a little while, but not anymore. And he's out of the lineup back in Pittsburgh, so hello to Bo. And hopefully he'll be healthy again soon and back in the Penguins lineup. Paul Martin with the puck, and Martin moves it up to Kunitz. Kunitz thought he had a hat trick last night, but they took one away from him. Now the Canadiens are rushing to the net as Giotta, and he backhanded it off the right pad of Fleury as he was going by the goal. And now Letang drops it off to Kunitz. Kunitz is hit by Yemelin. Dupuis to the goal, and the save made by Carey Price. Alexei Yemelin back in the lineup for the Canadiens. This is his 4th game back. He's a key figure on their blue line.
Well, he played 20 minutes last night against the Caps, and most of he's played in his first 3. There's a look at Carey Price. Calm, cool, collective. There's Yemelin. He'll help insulate Carey Price. This Montreal Canadian team, 2nd in save percentage in the National Hockey League.
Off the draw, Neal went to the puck. He shot it. It was blocked. Now over to the near side. And the Penguins trying to get possession here, but the Canadiens force it back to center. Matt Niskanen for Malkin. Boy, one thing about Gino, everybody talking about him not scoring goals, but what he just did there, he's been doing a lot of that. Back checking. Now James Neal with the puck, and he pokes it over to the far side. Loose, and there's Malkin again on the puck first in his own zone. Malkin comes ahead. Niskanen joins the rush. Niskanen for Jokin into the goal, and kind of a crazy way of getting that puck to the net. And Price had to be alert to corral that puck in the crease.
Let's take a look at 71 Evgeny Malkin coming back, making a play in his defensive zone to get the puck out. Look at this good speed by this Malkin unit. Neal and Malkin getting back on the back check to turn the puck the other way. The transition that Dan Bylsma so enjoyed by the power play, especially in last night's win.
Brandon Sutter leans in for the draw and wins it. Back to Brian Gibbons, and the shot taken by Ole Mata goes to the corner. D'Agostini to it now, and the Canadiens able to come to center. It's Max Pacioretty. Dan Bylsma will be watching him a little bit tonight because he figures to play in that U.S. Olympic team. Now it's Francis Bouillon shooting it wide of the goal. Back to the corner and Pacioretty. Out to Brendan Gallagher. The pass in his feet. Ole Mata tried to clear. Pacioretty throws it back to the point. Bouillon wasn't home. Now he's got to race back for the puck with speedy Brian Gibbons chasing him all the way back into his own zone. And Bouillon moves it back out to center. And Letang will poke it back inside the Montreal zone. Taken now by Pacioretty.
D'Agostini just getting off the ice for the Pittsburgh Penguins as they roll through all 4 lines here now. Been on the ice in the first now 2 minutes.
Agostini, the former Canadian, and he scored 15 goals in 78 games between 2007 and 2010 as a Montreal Canadian. Played also for a long time in Hamilton in their farm system, the Hamilton Bulldogs of the American Hockey League. Back to the puck goes Niskanen. He was hit by Ryan White, but got the puck to Robert Bortuzzo, who's been scratched for the last 5 games. I'm sure he's excited to get back into the lineup.
Well, that puck came up there to Tanner Glass right by the Penguins bench. You could hear it from up here. The whole bench yell heads up as that pass is behind him and the defenseman pinching on Glass.
Paul Martin with a long pass up the left wing to the captain, Sidney Crosby. Emelin strips him of the puck. Puck goes in behind the net. Josh Georges will take it now for Montreal. Up the wall. The airborne pass for Buonaval didn't connect, and the Penguins quickly go the other way, and it's Crosby against Emelin. Try to pull the puck around him. Emelin got the stick up into his Crosby's face and dislodged his helmet, and there'll be a penalty against Alexei Emelin, probably for high sticking Sidney Crosby.
Well, definitely Sidney Crosby with a head of steam. Look at that. Around one, he was trying to go through the legs of Emelin, and you can see the cross check kind of come into the high chest area.
And they do call high sticking on him.
Interesting. ACL surgery, normally a 6-month affair for Alexei Emelin. He comes back, and this is 4th game now in the penalty box, and he's slamming his stick against the glass, not liking it. And Michael Therrien not showing a lot of emotion behind that bench. I think he learned a little bit when he coached in Pittsburgh, just to settle things down a little bit.
A UPMC Sports Medicine power play for the Penguins. Penguins are ranked 7th with a man advantage, 11th on the road. And the Canadiens' penalty killing is ranked 9th, but 22nd at home and 2nd on the road. So they're not as good at home in the penalty killing department. Maybe the Penguins can take advantage of that. James Neal to the puck. Neal, Crosby, Kunitz, Martin, and Malkin for the Penguins. Malkin fires, and it's off a leg. And the Penguins will get it back. Kunitz with it. Neal centered it. Nobody there in front. Plekanec couldn't get it out. Malkin with that quick stick again, works it to Crosby down low to Neal. His shot just missed the goal. Paul Martin to the puck near side. Martin slips it back out to Evgeny Malkin. Wrist shot. And Price able to make the save after it came through a screen. You could hear it thump off his right pad, and he freezes it.
Oh, Chris Kunitz always on that doorstep. He'll provide the traffic in front of Carey Price here tonight. Malkin comes out shooting 6 shots in last night's game. He got off the schneid with a goal, and you keep shooting the puck. Good things are going to happen, and there is that shot through traffic and sticks. Not quite enough traffic.
All power plays are important, Bob, but when you get 2 in the first period, as the Penguins did last night, you got a chance here to get 1 early, right?
Oh, boy, that first goal is so important for the Penguins. If they don't score it, 3-7, I believe their numbers are when they don't score the first goal. 10-1 when they score it.
So this is a great opportunity right here to get a leg up here on the Canadiens. Here's Malkin with it. And Letang fans on a one-timer. Letang not the #1 man on the power play anymore. They insert him there for that opportunity, and then he fans on a great opportunity.
It's almost like he tried to take a little bit off that and trying to get it to the net. Just missed that contact, missed the timing.
Now the Penguins able to get it into the offensive zone. Down to 44 seconds to go on the penalty to Alexei Emelin. Here's PK Subban with authority. Look at him lift that puck all the way to the far end.
A little bit more would have been a penalty if it hadn't gone over the glass at the far end. We've only seen that a couple of times. But Carey Price has been very good helping himself out here, stopping these dump-ins. And let's see if he stops another one. No, of course, that's an icing, so he won't get out of the net. But he's been very active, very sharp here, in my opinion, early in this hockey game. And what a matchup between Carey Price and Marc-Andre Fleury in this one.
Well, the Canadiens have scored 3 shorthanded goals. It's an important face-off here, Bob, to the right of Marc-Andre Fleury between Ryan White and Brandon Sutter, the Penguins' second power play unit on with 26 seconds to go on the penalty. Pacioretty with it. It's Markov, and he guns it wide of the goal, boy. And that was a good heavy shot. And now D'Agostini comes back, and he'll dump it up into the Montreal zone. Diaz takes D'Agostini out on the end wall, and the Canadiens get possession, and again, they're able to clear it the length of the ice. Ryan White dispatched the puck all the way down, and that kills the penalty. And now Brandon Sutter at center ice. Emelin steps out of the box. He'll probably go to the bench here. There goes Chris Letang shooting, and the save by Price, and no rebound.
There is a shot registered by Letang. Who can forget when he was hit by Pacioretty a couple years ago and came back, scored the big overtime winner. And Chris Letang has already been up ice on a couple of rushes here in his 400th National Hockey League game already for Chris Letang.
Face-off coming up to the right of Carey Price. And Carey Price putting up outstanding numbers again. A .935 save percentage. The Canadiens might very well have the best save percentage in the NHL. It's right up there at
Second.
9:34 second, right. You're right. 9:34.
Behind the Boston Bruins, and they're tied with, I believe it's Colorado and the Maple Leafs. All have 934 save percentages.
Subban does everything in almost a comical way. He's a real character on the ice. Here's Dupuis moving it to the left side. And Kunitz slips it up into the Canadian zone, and Dupuis gets in after it along with Joe Vitale. And now it's PK Subban to Lars Eller. Brooks Orpik takes control along with Paul Martin. He's able to make a nice pass up through off the stick of Dupuis and into the Montreal zone. Price has to play it as Francis Bouillon moves it around to the right side. Subban ahead to Lars Eller. Brandon Prust into the Penguin zone. Alex Galchenyuk, only 19 years old, shoots the puck. It was blocked, and Paul Martin ends up with it now in the corner. George is trying to get it to the net, and it's blocked. And now Dupuis, along with Kunitz, just got it inside the line and no further. And the Penguins wanted to change here, but weren't able to get enough players on and get back. And now kicked by Gibbons to Ole Mata with his skates taken out from under him. That'll be a penalty.
No, the referee at center ice called it, not the referee. Dvorsky down on the goal line, who is shielded by the net.
Chris Rooney making the call, and the Penguins go right back again to a power play here. Danny Briere kicking the feet out from Mata. We talked about the importance of those early power play goals last night. Chris Kunitz getting a pair of them.
I tell you, this guy has found some kind of finishing touch, hasn't he? Chris Kunitz with 11 goals now on the season. Looked like he had the natural hat trick.
And it's team leading 5th power play goal, that second one. So he's got 5 of them, and he's looking to try to get 6.
It's funny, he scores them from all over the ice. You'll see deflections. You saw that big bomb and the one-timer there. So he is talented.
Well, the UPMC doctor has ordered another power play goal for the Penguins on the UPMC Sports Medicine power play. Let's see if the Penguins can fill the prescription. Centering pass, Kunitz to the goal, and he almost had it. Price able to freeze.
Carey Price is, well, he doesn't expend a lot of energy in the net. It's the best way I can say it. They want him to fill the 4x6. He's never really outside it. We'll see if the Penguins can get him moving around at all here in this hockey game. Maybe they can work some plays from behind the net to get him looking over his shoulders a little bit. Boy, he really maximizes a minimal effort out there in the net.
Crosby against Plekanec, who wins the draw back to the corner, but no, they're going to do it again. Somebody jumped the gun.
And the Penguins are going to have to get their dump-ins around that glass here at the Bell Center.
From the draw, Rafael Diaz trying to clear it. It squirts to Crosby, who backhands it right through the slot. Plekanec will get to it and backhand it the length of the ice.
No shots for the Montreal Canadiens. Fleury getting himself active just by playing pucks here to stay awake in this game. 5-0 the shot for Pittsburgh.
Evgeny Malkin will lug the puck for the Penguins on their second power play chance of the period. Crosby, great move, and on. He drops it back, doesn't shoot it. Kunitz flipped it to the net, didn't get a lot on it. Boy, I thought Sid was going to shoot the puck. If he fooled me, he'd probably fool his line mates too. I don't think they expected that at all.
Oh, he was in fantastic position there to shoot that puck. He's coming down, he makes a beautiful move. And if he just rips that, Carey Price is just getting set. And he's deep in his net because there's other Penguins on the other side. Crosby, got to be a little selfish there.
There he is again. Crosby to the left side and Kunitz. Kunitz trying to go back to Neal. Good work by Neal. Malkin hustling over to keep that puck in at the right point. Crosby to Kunitz. Shot off the heel of the stick, and it's loose around the net. Kunitz looks for it, so does Crosby, but Neal ends up with it. Sid centers it right back to Malkin. Malkin shoots it just missed the net. Crosby from a sharp angle. The shot is blocked. And the Canadians able to get it to center. Letang there to cut it off. Pacioretty trying to get a hold of it. Neal finally gets it, and he drops it back to his goaltender. Marc-Andre Fleury over to Letang, and with 15 seconds to go on the penalty to Briere, the Penguins' second unit comes on.
Well, Crosby's on his game here tonight. Holy smokes.
Sutter after the puck. Ian D'Agostini, 1 second to go on the penalty. Danny Briere back on the ice. Letang pushed by Briere from behind. Jokinen trying to keep it in and look out. One man back. It's Niskanen. 3. It's a 2-on-1. And it's White shooting. Fleury gloves the puck and holds onto it.
Well, Fleury, he moved to his right, and it went right in his glove. His glove was in a perfect position just over the left pad, and it hit him square right in that mesh. Let's take a look. He moves slightly to his right, puck right in his glove. Absolutely good positioning. This is Crosby. Look at the speed here. Whoops. George has just got his feet crossed up there as Crosby was in full flight and then decided to pass the puck. And Marc-Andre Fleury, his first save, a beauty.
Well, if you want a guy in a situation like that, it might be Ryan White, Rob. He's gone 42 games without a goal. Still doesn't have one this year. Now Subban shooting. Oh, that one just ticked wide of the goal. And now been behind the net. Desharnais. Vitale. Over to Gibbons. Ryan Gibbons sent it up the wall. And Gallagher couldn't hold it in. He'll retreat to center ice. Subban wheels the puck to the near side where Pacioretty dumps it into the Penguin zone. Fleury moves it along for Orpik. So the Penguins come up empty on 2 power play opportunities here in the first period. The Canadians dodging a couple of bullets. And now Vitale working. Finds Mata. Back around near side where it's taken by Brooks Orpik. Orpik ahead for Vitale. He makes sure he gets it deep. Gibbons reaching for the puck. Vitale finishes off Subban in that offensive zone. And now Bortuzzo ahead for Dupuis. Try to move it to the forehand and lost the puck. Now Matt Niskanen. Checked by Galchenyuk. Niskanen, stick handling in a phone booth, drops it back on defense.
Galchenyuk, 3rd overall pick in 2012 for the Canadians.
He has a good shot to make that U.S. Olympic team. Of Russian descent, born in Michigan. Played for that U.S. World Junior team that won the gold last year. Really good young player. Alex Galchenyuk, number 27 of the Canadians. He's on the ice. The Penguins, Robert Bortuzzo has the puck. He was paired up for a long time with Olli Mata, who's now paired up with Chris Letang, and Bortuzzo and Niskanen playing together on this particular shift. The Penguins change up. Orpik and Martin come on, and Brooks Orpik has the puck over to Paul Martin. Out on right wing now. It's Craig Adams who banks it off the boards to the corner to Malkin. Jokinen comes in. He's looking for the puck. But the Canadians work it up the right wing, and Gionta dumps it out to center. Here goes Plekanec around Brooks Orpik. Plekanec backhands it off the side of the goal, and then the centering pass comes all the way through. Slap shot! And a good one by Markov is stopped. Back into the corner, Plekanec. Malkin works hard to get possession. Taps it back into the corner to Paul Martin. Martin out to Jokinen. Can't handle the puck cleanly. But Malkin just everywhere in the defensive zone. It's unreal. He's reminding me of the way Mario was when he would get into that mode where he would just be the dominant player in all 3 zones.
Mario wanted to protect the lead. There was no better with that wingspan and desire to play that in-zone game. I mean, Malkin's doing it right now. 200 feet all over the ice.
Here go the Canadians. Travis Moen stepping up on him as Orpik. He was also hit from behind by Brandon Sutter. The fans wanted a penalty, nothing called. Gibbons steers it to where Brooks Orpik can handle it. Under pressure now from Bournival, Michael Bournival, a new Canadian name we are calling for the first time. Good-looking young player. Here's Rafael Diaz. He lifts it. Whoa, I thought it was going to go to the Canadians bench, but it's taken by Olli Mata. But now this crowd of over 21,000 comes to life here in Montreal, hoping the Canadians can take advantage of those 2 early penalty kills. But Brandon Sutter in on the puck. Sends it back around. Matt D'Agostini after it. Pacioretty leans on him. Sutter pokes it free. And now White moves it in behind the net. Over to play it is D'Agostini for Sutter. Can't play it cleanly. Rafael Diaz at his pocket pick by Sutter. Now to Gibbons. Out to D'Agostini to Letang. And across to Mata. And it's D'Agostini. The backhand shot just missed the goal. Gibbons looks for the puck. And it's Rafael Diaz. Excellent work by the Penguins. Sustained pressure, but now the puck does come to the neutral zone.
Boy, you can see those backhands. They just give goaltenders fits because they're tough to pick up off that stick with the blade being, bent the other way. And Carey Price was guessing on that D'Agostini backhand.
He just missed. Still looking for his first goal as a Penguin in his 7th game in a Pittsburgh Penguins uniform. Carey Price didn't have to make a save on D'Agostini. He just missed, and there is no score.
We have showed you the extensive workouts that Chris Letang goes through during the summer here in Montreal. Well, this morning we met the man behind the weights. Not Chris, his trainer, John Chamberg. who's been working with Letang at his gym for the past 3.5 years. He refers to Chris as, quote, the Beast. And we had a chance to watch him work out with some of his current clientele. We'll share his rather unique stories about Chris and what he does during the summer on an upcoming edition of Inside Penguins Hockey, guys. Beast.
Great stuff. And Danny able to take that camera today to get that story. Good stuff.
Yeah, that is good. Speaking of Beast, where's the Wildebeest, Douglas Murray?
Out of the lineup tonight. Did play last night against the Capitals. Not in the lineup tonight.
10 games.
There's a show now, Montreal doing a show called 24CH, very similar to In the Room, the show that the Penguins do. It's been airing on the NHL Network, and we've had a chance to really get a glimpse of Michael Therrien's work behind the scenes. And he is decidedly different in his demeanor than Dan Bylsma. Let's just put it that way. Here's Crosby, and Price coolly clears it, but right to Kunitz. Kunitz dumps it to the corner.
Well, Carey Price has been very instrumental in getting pucks and helping his D out, setting up pucks. And that play there with Crosby attacking, getting the puck out of the zone.
Martin with a shot wide. Crosby! Oh, Price got his glove up to stop that shot as he took the carom off the boards. Now Martin with it, dumps it back into the corner. Sidney Crosby shuffles it in front. Backhand shot by Dupuis. Stop. Rebound. Price finds the loose puck in the goal crease.
I don't know how the second opportunity stayed out. It looked like Pascal Dupuis was going to get it around the right pad of Carey Price. There was one that came off the back wall. Take a look at this one. The good hard shot. There's a save by the glove of Price. Puck gets back to the front of the net. Dupuis is wide open. There's one save. And the second one, wow. He's able to get across on his stomach. Left pad and then the right pad. And Pascal Dupuis looking up and he can't believe it. Couldn't light the lamp.
The Canadians have really been good defensively, and Carey Price has allowed only 6 goals in his last 4 starts.
Offside, 10-4. 10 saves for Price, 4 for Marc-Andre Fleury.
And the Penguins looking to fill the net tonight, but it won't be easy against the Canadians. So you mentioned Marc-Andre Fleury not facing a lot of shots, only 4 so far in the first period. I asked him about that yesterday, about the lack of activity, and as he got used to that, because we've had a lot of periods where the Penguins have had very few shots against. He said he just tries to stay sharp and watch what the puck's doing at the other end. Just kind of concentrate on the play more. Here's Malkin centering. Neal tried to get to it, and Letang back to the puck.
He did take shots this morning. He and Zakhoff were on the ice for the optional skate. Only a handful of players, but Fleury taking a lot of shots.
Jokinen ahead to Malkin. Malkin looks for Neal. He'll go get it. Back in behind the net. Jokinen looks for it, but Subban clears it to the near boards. Pacioretty bumped by Letang. Subban sends it back around behind. Lifted all the way down the ice. And right to the glove of the Penguins goaltender. Time for our UPMC Sports Medicine Injury Update.
And that was Chuck Kobasu this morning here in Montreal. Working with Mike Kadar, doing a lot of drills. Lighting up the lights there, and he had to react to those. He was on there for a long time. Chuck Kobasu, you know he's getting close.
Face off. White, Sutter. And the Penguins control it. Niskanen around. Tanner Glass. Checked by Bourneval. Back to the corner, and Sutter. Well, the Penguins unable to get out of their own zone, and Bourneval sends it in front, and Fleury makes the save. And the shot taken by White as he had lost his helmet was stopped by Fleury. So good work by the Canadians. Their forecheck, they were able to develop a pretty good scoring opportunity, but still no score. look at the Penguins' assistant coaches, Tony Granato on your right, and goalie coach Mike Bales on the left, and Jacques Martin, the former coach of the Montreal Canadiens, now an assistant with the Penguins. He was here, of course, when the Canadiens unseated the Penguins, the defending Stanley Cup champions in 2010, and was very happy to do so. You see him smiling as they celebrate the win in that final game at the Civic Arena. Yaroslav Halak was in goal for the Canadiens that night, not Carey Price. Gibbons chops at the puck, takes it in the corner. Across ice, it's Bortuzzo shooting, and the save by Price, and no rebound again.
Well, Bortuzzo, as if to say sorry, didn't mean to do anything, but Carey Price off that face-off in the Penguins zone. Carey Price was on his way to the Penguins bench. I don't know if he thought there was a penalty going to be called or what. But the puck gets to the front of the net here. Gibbons had a lot of touches early in the game, and there is Bortuzzo going to the net. He was escorted in there. He got a little bit of a shove from Diaz and tripped up Carey Price a little bit. No need to apologize for that, Robert Bortuzzo. That's exactly what the Penguins have to do. Get into the kitchen of that guy right there. Bump him.
Clean face-off win for Vitale. Adams able to get to the puck. Adams centers now for Vitale, and that is broken up. Now Lars Eller out here with Brandon Prust and Alex Galchenyuk up front for the Canadiens. They can't get cleanly through the neutral zone, but now here's a chance for Prust as he's got a lane down the right wing. Looks for Eller. It's out of his reach. Galchenyuk to the puck. Back for Eller behind the net and around for Prust. Yemelin at the right point. Alexei Yemelin with a wrister up high. Fleury bumped from behind as he's able to glove the puck. So Lars Eller going to the goal as the Canadiens take a page from what the Islanders were doing last night, really sneaking around that crease. We want to welcome Comcast subscribers from the Scranton area. Thanks for watching and rooting on the Pens. All of us at Root Sports and the Penguins appreciate your support. It's been a busy week for Root Sports with the high school football championships at Heinz Field, and two more tonight after the post-game show, and hope you're enjoying those. If you're at Heinz Field watching them in person, you can also watch them on tape delay when you get home. That's great stuff. And Root Sports, so many folks working this week to make all those productions happen. Great stuff. Here's Pascal Dupuis with it. And Dupuis steps to his own blue line. Over is Gianta. He'll come into the Penguin zone down the right wing. Gianta centers, and right in front of the net was Martin to break it up. And now it is Markov dumping it in behind the net. Dupuis looked for the puck, and Plekanec got it first and shot it just wide. And then it was flicked in front. Plekanec couldn't find it. Markov works it back to Subban, who shoots it. It's blocked. Gianta back to the front of the net. Briere right there on the doorstep. Fleury gives him a little shot with a blocker as he stood right on top of the Penguin goaltender.
Yeah, you got to get him out of there. Fleury can't get out there to cut down the angle shot.
Well, the Canadiens really buzzing right now. The Penguins having a tough time in their own end, but finally they'll come to center. It's Kunitz gaining the zone to Dupuis. Crosby goes to the front of the net. Letang with it. Back behind the net for Dupuis. And a hand pass is called. A chance to look at our Barrel Automotive leaders. The quickest to 250 goals. You can see where Sidney Crosby ranks. 493 games, which was last night against the New York Islanders. Mario Lemieux doing it in 324. And this was a tough place for Mario to get points. Remember in the day when Patrick Waugh was the goalie, and look at Crosby and Subban having a little conversation. And I guess Subban is a guy whose mouth is always moving, Bob.
That's why you have two here, Steggy. In one and out the other. When PK Subban around there, he just put the cotton batting in.
Look out, loose puck on the side of the cage. There's Georgia shooting, and a save by Fleury. That was weird. That puck ricocheting away from the net. And out of play.
A lot of battles in front. Gallagher jarring with Letang in front of the net. Letang and Mata the pair. Look at Fleury. Wow, look how he came out there, checked his angle with the butt end of his stick. I love that. He came across, pushed out there, he whacked the crossbar and the goalpost with the butt end of his stick to get out there, get his angle and square on the shot. That's some pretty good stuff. There he goes again, touching the post to get an angle on this faceoff.
Sutter takes the faceoff. White won it back to Georges. One-timer into that, and a blocker save made by Fleury. And the Penguins able to get it out to center, and Josh Georges will go back and play it. Georges paired up with Yemelen. Yemelen was paired up with Markov last year, and they were a solid pair. Now here's Neal with it ahead to Malkin. Malkin swinging wide. And he can't go anywhere as Georges pins him against the boards, but it's Letang with it. He can't keep it in. When Yemelen went down, it kind of messed up their pairings. I was kind of surprised that they didn't put Yemelen right back with Markov when he came back off injury. Here's Neal with it now. And he cuts in, centers, backhand try, in front by Jokinen, doesn't go. And the Canadians able to clear it back into the Penguin zone, and Nolimata ahead to Letang, who banks it ahead on the right wing to Neal. Neal against Bouillon, cuts to the goal. Picked up now by Gibbons. He's got a man open in the slot for Tuzo, who tried to move up the defenseman, but puck stays on the wall, and Sutter just flipped it back in behind the net, where it's taken by Bouillon, and he'll step out of his own zone for the Canadians. Ahead to Lars Eller. Eller out of Denmark, left side for Galchenyuk. He tried to go back to Eller. It goes behind the net. 2:14 to go in the period. 12 shots for the Penguins, 11 for the Canadians, and no score in the game. Lars Eller works the corner. Niskanen tried to take it away. Centers. Comes all the way through. Diaz with a blast. That's blocked. Into the near side, Bouillon. Up the wall it comes for Galchenyuk. For Eller behind the net. Rust is there. Galchenyuk also with the eye on the puck, but it's moved up the near side by Bortuzzo. It goes past everybody up into the Montreal zone. Price way out of the net. Back around for Diaz. Penguins are changing. They get fresh players on as the Canadians clear it back up into the Penguin zone.
Lars Eller, we haven't talked too much about him in the game yet, but he's a guy that's really improved his game. Mark Bergevin, we talked to him at some of the meetings this summer, the NHL meetings, Staggy, and boy, the general manager, Mark Bergevin, very high on Lars Eller and the way he's able to really pick up his game over the last couple of years.
Brooks Orpik did a good job to take his man out on the far wall, Giatta, so that the Penguins can come out of their own zone. And Paul Martin sends it ahead. It'll bounce up into the Montreal end of the ring. Tanner Glass in after it. Around now for Joe Vitale. Craig Adams, Glass, and Vitale on the ice. The Penguins' fourth line. Working hard in the Canadian zone. Under a minute remaining in the period. And Carey Price has definitely been the difference in this period. And he's made 3 or 4 really good saves. And Plekanec carries the puck to center with speed into the Penguin zone. Plekanec trying to get around Martin. Shoots it. Save! Fleury had it cleared away by Orpik, who saved the day. I don't know if that would have rolled over the line anyway, but it was laying right there behind Fleury. And over to the near side, Martin sends it back around for Orpik.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Last minute, there's a lot of snow in the crease. At the start of the period, maybe that rolls across the line, or if it gets on edge, it'll roll across. But because it's the end of the period, look at all the snow in the blue paint. That's a snowbank there. It's not going anywhere.
Pacioretty into the Penguin zone. When his backhand centers, Malkin in perfect defensive position. Takes it the other way with 10 seconds to go. Malkin dumps it to the right wing corner. Back to get it is Markov. Markov back up the near side. Handled there by Pacioretty. Letang whipped it back to the net 1 second to go. And we'll show you how that puck died in the snowbank behind Marc-Andre Fleury.
Well, the goalies, you know, they at the start of the period, they come out there, they always ruin that area, don't they? They get it all snowy. And there it is going to, well, it was going to stop dead right there.
Coming up in the first intermission, presented by your neighborhood Ford store with Paul Alexander and Jay Caulfield. Dan Potash talks with Chris Letang, native of Montreal, and Jay will tell us straight. Let's go to Paul and Jay right now.
All right, Staggy, thank you very much. And Jay, a pretty spirited period of hockey. And we talked about before the game, we talked about last night that Carey Price could be a big difference. He's been strong so far.
Yeah, he certainly was. And you can see Montreal, they kind of weathered. Pittsburgh came at them. They're kind of starting to get a little more speed going. They're quick, small, quick, talented forwards, and they're getting their game a little bit. But Carey Price certainly the difference early on in this game.
Marc-Andre Fleury, little help from some snow maybe in the crease, but we have no score through one period of play. Jay and I will break it all down. We'll hear from Chris Letang, a Montreal native. And Jay's going to tell us straight. We all that and more coming up on our first intermission report. It's presented by your neighborhood Ford store.
All right, thank you very much, Paul. I want to take a look a little bit at some of the work that Marc-Andre Fleury did in the first period, Bob.
Well, sometimes when you're on the road, you don't have those marks at home. You got to find your angles. It's harder on the road. And for Marc-Andre Fleury, watch how he gets his angle. Watch his right butt end. Right there, he checks the goalpost, goes out there, and is way on top of his crease. And look at him, checking the angles on the face-off to come out there and make sure he's square on that face-off. So Marc-Andre Fleury checking his angles, not just prior to puck drop, but actually in motion during the game there, as he's able to, as you would say, telescope out to make that save.
Marc-Andre Fleury will turn 29 years old in about 5 days.
Yeah, 28th.
Sidney Crosby against Plekanec to start the period. And the Canadians, Markov dumps it into the Penguin zone. The shots are even at 12 after 20 minutes. Subban slapped it and hit his teammate. Ouch. Danny Briere right on the right skate. And Plekanec steps into the Penguin zone, backhands it towards the net. Fleury swept it to the far wall where Giunta has it. Giunta played at Boston College. One of many diminutive players to play there, including Brian Gibbons, who plays for the Penguins. There's also Nathan Gerbe would be another one who comes to mind, and Cam Atkinson, who plays for the Columbus Blue Jackets. All short players who are big on talent.
And Orpik and Martin get the assignment against Briere and Plekanec. And Giunta here in this game, over 9 minutes for Paul Martin in the first period of play, over 9.
Martin with a long lead pass to Kunitz. And over to help out was Neal, but Kunitz didn't pass it to him. He just dumped it in and went to the bench. The Penguins changed. Neal, Malkin, Jokinen, a threesome for the Penguins as Letang takes it. Moves it over to his partner, Ole Mata. Headmans the puck. It's off a stick. And the Canadians, Lars Eller's got it. Ahead now to Brandon Prust. Galchenyuk went offside. Now they regroup, and Josh Georges dumps it into the right wing corner. Ole Mata tapped it up the near boards, and Neal nicely feeds it along to Malkin, quickly moving it to Jokinen. Jokinen drops it off to Letang, back to Jokinen, and he pushed it behind the net. Letang there to Malkin, his shot. Price the save, and Neal looked for the rebound, but Price freezes it between the pads. And let's look at what Carey Price was doing in the first period.
Well, he was very active in the first period, not just making saves, but playing the puck as well. Every dump in, he was able to get out there one hand, stop a lot of these pucks. This one backhanded. And once again, just a one-handed stop, obviously very strong. Kind of like Tom Barrasso was, able to get out there and kind of maneuver that stick with one hand. And that really helps the defense when you have a third guy out there like that to move pucks. Look out.
Face-off win by Malkin to Neal, and the Canadians are ready for that. It was blocked by Josh Georges, and they push it back into the Penguin zone, and Ole Mata. To Jokinen, and now to Letang. Letang ahead to Malkin. And the Canadians dump it right back to neutral ice, where Letang hits Neal with it. And Neal over to Mata. First goal big in games like this. And now there's a turnover. Pacioretty shoots it. He scores.
Well, Max Pacioretty, one of the top goal scorers. Mata head up, turns that puck over, puts it right onto the tape of Pacioretty, who read that pass and was able to measure up the goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury. And Fleury, he had ample time to get out there and get his angle on top of the crease. That shot off the goalpost and in on the glove side of Marc-Andre Fleury. What a shot there by Pacioretty.
Sixth goal of the season for Pacioretty. 3 of the 6 goals came in one game, and that was against Minnesota recently, a 6-2 win for the Canadians. And now the Penguins have an opportunity down the wing. Quick shot and a save on Sutter by Carey Price. Penguins almost got it right back.
Take one more look at the goal. I was wondering if he checked his angle or not. Marc-Andre Fleury, as we showed earlier, yes, he did. You see how he checks the angle again to come out there. But that shot was just perfect. It was 12 inches. Look at it. Checks his angle, comes out. Oh, good stuff there, guys. And he's able to just 12 inches just over that pad, under the glove. A really good shot. And the Penguins, again, putting pucks up the middle of the ice there. And Ole Mata, you know, it's a tough lesson, isn't it? But you got to keep pucks up the wall if you're not sure. And Mata was backing up. And the Montreal Canadiens were just playing that neutral zone trap, just waiting. There's no need for Ole Mata to force that puck up the middle.
Niskanen with a drive, and Price makes the save. We haven't seen Mata make any glaring mistakes, but the 19-year-old definitely did there. And he knew it. He went back to the bench, and it was a long skate. Now taken by Rafael Diaz, native of Switzerland, comes to center. Diaz dumps it to the Penguins zone, but an offside call on the Montreal Canadiens. So the Habs get that all-important first goal that we talked about earlier.
Yes, and Pacioretty, the man who hit Chris Letang a couple of years ago and sent him into the timeout room before he came back and scored in overtime. Pacioretty also the man that was hit by Zdeno Chara into the turnbuckle. They changed the turnbuckle now on the benches because Pacioretty broke his neck. So they've cut that back a couple of feet on the benches where I do some of the work between the benches, Staggy. That pad is now not right there on the boards. It's back. It's removed there to give that player protection.
Chase now for Vitale shooting, and a blocker save made by Price. He made it look easy on Joe Vitale, who's still looking for his first goal. He hasn't scored in 27 games. Tanner Glass with it now. He fires, and Price easily flicks that aside. Now Gallagher moves it up the left wing. And by the way, Pacioretty was hit into that new style turnbuckle recently in a game on the road by a player. I don't remember who it was who hit him, but it looked very similar, Bob, and he ran into that glass that's curled there. Yeah, it was amazing how similar it was. Here's a shot by Subban that's wide of the goal to the corner. Orpik takes his man Gallagher hard into the boards. Adams tries to get it out. Markov held it in. Desharnais goes behind the net and moves it out to Subban. Shot pass. He was looking for the redirect from Daniel Briere. It didn't work. But now Giunta behind the net for Briere. The Canadians have some life, but Vitale separates Briere from the puck with a solid body check, and Tanner Glass is able to work it back out to neutral ice. Subban works it to the left wing. Nice little pass for Plekanec. He couldn't take it cleanly. Glass one-hands it over to Paul Martin, who uses the net as his ally here with two Canadians bearing down on him. And Glass forces his man Briere out to neutral ice so the Penguins can get the puck to center. And now Giunta with it to the left side. Plekanec with a slap shot. Blocked away by Fleury to the corner. Orpik takes Giunta hard into the boards, and you can hear him. I can hear his voice from all the way up here on our effects microphone. You can hear him wincing in pain and actually groaning as Orpik took him hard into those corner boards. Now Crosby back to the corner, and leaning on him is PK Subban. Reaching in is Plekanec, and Markov comes away with a puck. Now Kunis just flicks it back to the net.
This is a good battle right now. Crosby and Subban started in the opposite corner to the glove side of Carey Price, the Penguins' right offensive corner, and it went behind the net. And then when the puck came to Carey Price, Subban and Crosby getting into it once again. And we saw the little conversation they had earlier. Brooks Orpik, the captain Giunta, goes into the corner, and Orpik gives him a little stiff little cross check right in the hip area, right up, maybe right just above that pant area that we saw last night. Adams hit one of the players for the Islanders. There's not a lot of padding there, and he might have lost
Franz Nielsen.
Might have lost his win there, Giunta.
I can literally hear him go, ah! Now the puck in the slot. Neal trying to get a hold of it. Jokinen can't pull the trigger. Letang over to Jokinen. His shot blocked. Loose in front. Cleared away by Bouillon. Jokinen back out to Olli Maatta. Takes the shot to Letang. Letang fires, and a save made by Price. Olli Maatta to the rebound. Back to the net. And he looked for a redirect by Malkin that didn't connect. Now it's Jokinen with it again. Try to get it back to the goal. Look out here. Olli Maatta's going to get back. Letang is back. And the Penguins have three players, fortunately, working defensively as Brandon Prust tried to center it. Gets it back. Moves it to the circle. Got Chenyuk shooting, and it's blocked. Back out now to Bouillon, who dumps into the corner. Lars Eller will take it. Crushed behind the net. Eller, Prust, and got Chenyuk for the Canadians. Got Chenyuk to Eller. Lars Eller out of Denmark. Out to the point to Bouillon. Now to Diaz. His shot off of Letang. Letang up the wall for Jokinen. And Jokinen moves it into the middle for Olli Maatta. Maatta will dump it in. Bob, I wonder if you could talk about how you handle a situation like that. Maatta making a mistake, a glaring error that led to a goal. As a coach and as a player, what do you do in that situations?
Well, as a player, you better shake it off right away because you're going to be out there the next shift. As a coach, you put the player, Olli Maatta, out there because he's a young player. He's going to learn from mistakes. And you hope the next time he puts it up the wall. If he puts it up in the middle of the ice again, then you put him in the middle of the bench.
There's a shot by Niskanen off the stick. Gallagher, he holds on to that stick. I thought it might be broken. Niskanen again with a drive. That's blocked in front. Body's down as Price leaps out and covers up the puck.
Boy, the rugby game in behind Carey Price. Some great plays by the Tang on that last shift.
PK Subban remained calm earlier this month when Michel Therrien decided to keep his start on the bench late in games. But Tuesday, well, let's just say he spoke softly and threw a stick. He was not happy that former Penguin Matt Cook was not called for a penalty on this play, so he just took Matt's stick and he threw it. Okay. Control those emotions, Bobby. Control them.
Yeah, okay, PK.
The shenanigans of PK Subban, and they like to get him in the locker room in Montreal. Saw an episode where Brandon Pruss sewed the sleeves of his jacket, so when he put his hands in the arms, he couldn't get his hands through. And then they sewed the pocket shut too, with his watch and his keys in it. And he was so proud of his black jacket. Here's a chance for Briere in front. Fleury shuts the door. Great opportunity for Gionta. Fleury right there denied him. Now Gionta again tried to step in front. He's leveled by Niskanen, but there'll be a penalty on that. And now Letang gets into Bortuzzo into a little battle here on the near side with Briere.
Gunik asking the official right now, what's the call? What's the call here? Gionta went to the front of the net.
Number 2 minutes roughly.
Take a look at the battles in front of Marc-Andre Fleury as he denies Gionta, and then with that flick over the one hand. You know what? If a guy is going to attempt to play like that, Gionta, a little trickery, and well, you could say trying to maybe rub it in. No, not really, but you know, it's a little bit on the edge, and I would applaud Niskanen for knocking him right on his wallet. I didn't think it was much of a penalty there.
Neither did Niskanen, and he's in the box, and the Canadians with a man advantage. The Penguins failed on 2 power play chances in the first period, and now the Canadians with an opportunity here. A roughing call on Niskanen.
This is a dangerous power play. Subban with the big bomb from the point.
Sutter working out here on the penalty kill along with Adams. Markov. Pacioretty takes it. And passes it to no man's land. And back it goes into the Montreal zone.
They're going to try to get in Subban's shooting lane. They're going to get out there and front him a little bit more than you would normally do. He's got a long stick you can see that Subban uses right now.
Canadians ranked 3rd on the power play this year. 1st on the road. And then a shot by Markov. Really let that one go, and it went off of Fleury.
Markov plays just a shade over 24 minutes a game. Right into your living room here. Take a look at this. Subban to Markov. And that went off the stick above the blocker. And right into your kitchen. Big face-off here.
Eller against Sutter. And Sutter, and the Penguins win the draw. Letang steps to center. Letang will shoot it long, wide of the net. Going to get it is Andrei Markov. Markov wheeling out of his own zone, a long lead pass steered in by Galchenyuk. Played by Fleury. Back around near side for Letang. Whips it up the board. Held in nicely on the right wing wall. And the Penguins do get it back, however, and it is going to be cleared this time, the length of the ice. Limata making sure he got a lot on that to get it down, and now here comes PK Subban. The short, choppy strides to center. Subban into the Penguin zone. Looks for Eller. Eller whips it around, but it went up off the glass into the netting.
Well, that was off Letang's stick. The clear by Letang. Letang has been brilliant in this game. Really good.
Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
We talked a lot about Subban. Chris Letang has been up on the ice, up on the play. He's been reading plays. His stick on puck has been good. His clears on the penalty kill's good. Seems like he's got an extra bounce in his step here tonight.
They win the draw. Bouillon with it. 20 seconds to go on the penalty. And Bouillon way up at the blue line. Bouillon only 5'7". Hands it off to Plekanec. Back to the front of the net. Loose. Gionta swings in behind. Works it all the way out to the point. Bouillon shot hit the goalpost. Fleury never saw it. He just heard it. And now Gionta to Bouillon. Penalty's over. Niskanen trying to get back in the play. Travis Moen takes the puck behind the goal to Plekanec. Tried to shoot it. It was blocked. Held in. Niskanen on the ice.
Yeah, free defense. Somebody's got to assume the center position.
It's Orpik, Niskanen, and Martin on the ice. 3 defensemen. Diaz with it. Left side for Plekanec. Orpik goes over. Trying to recall his days as a winger under Michel Therrien.
There he is. Maybe as he goes by there to make the change, he can.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks,
Mike,
for the help.
Now at center ice, it's Crosby ahead to D'Agostini. Closing in. He fired it high and wide off the glass.
Bad change by the Canadians. Emelin getting back on the ice very late, and D'Agostini with a, kind of a half breakaway.
Kunitz guns one up over the goal. Now over to the wall goes Mata. Crashing and banging over there. Ryan White with it. Crosby all over him, hooking him with a stick. He got away with that. And now the puck up the right wing and pressed. Cut off beautifully by Letang. The Penguins go the other way. Kunitz with it. He's got a trailer and Ole Mata doesn't see him because he's trying to control that puck with Bournival leaning all over him. Centering pass broken up with the Canadians, and they come back at a 3-on-2. But they can't make it click. And Ole Mata just pushes it ahead. It'll be taken by Brandon Prust. He gave it right to Mata, who headmans the puck to Crosby. On the ice is Neal. Crosby looks for him, couldn't get it through. And there goes Gallagher with speed against Letang. Coming over beautifully to play it and cover up for his partner Letang is Matt Niskanen. He sends it around near side. It will be taken near wall by Dionne. Centering pass intended for Gallagher. Malkin again, great defensively to break it up. Letang headmans. Jokinen couldn't take the lead pass. 9.5 minutes to go in the second period. The Canadians leading 1-0. Subban lifted it to the line. Niskanen gets it going north with Malkin. Malkin cutting down the wing, backhand pass. Subban takes him hard to the glass and then gives him an extra shove. Malkin returns the favor as the Canadians go the other way. It's Andrei Markov into the Penguin zone to the right wing, and Desharnais back to Markov. And the Canadian defenseman backhanded it right on the stick of Mata, who cleared it off the boards back to center. And Subban and Malkin really were going at it there on the end boards. Now Giunta goes rink wide for Daniel Briere. Slams on the brakes with Bortuzzo watching him. Behind the net now Plekanec. Back up to the right point, and Diaz sends it back in deep. Briere there. Sutter playing hard on him. He's got a stick in his face. It'll be a penalty on Sutter. Sutter wants to say something to Briere like, hey, how about not embellishing so much? He got him though.
Well, D'Agostini with an opportunity on a bad change by the Canadians. Emelin coming late. Still 1-0 here. There he is, Parnell Carl Subban. He's got some elbows and some gloves flying. He's always got something going on. Shoving the back of Malkin, who gets his elbow in there on PK Subban. And here's a look at the penalty.
Oh! That's why Sutter didn't like it. A delayed reaction, but
he did catch him.
I agree with you.
That's why you have to.
I think Sutter doubted that he did, but
the stick on the ice.
The camera doesn't lie, does it, Bob?
Nowhere near that big screen we just saw it on over center ice.
Brandon Sutter.
Plekanec down the wing. Second power play chance for the Canadians, who lead 1-0. They had one shot on their first chance. And it's PK Subban. Now to Plekanec. Giunta's in the slot. He'll work it around now. Here behind the net. Markov all the way in the corner, all the way out to Subban. Back to Markov. Markov across for Plekanec. He shoots it, and he missed.
Boy, that's a hard shot, though, a rising shot. I don't think Marc-Andre Fleury got a piece of it at all. And Plekanec, he's going to shoot the puck, and the more the other players shoot it, that's going to open up PK Subban eventually, and that's what the Canadians are trying to do. Not so much try to focus in on giving Subban the puck all the time and kind of take what the Penguins are giving them. And they're not giving the Subban shot right now.
6 shots for the Penguins, 4 for the Canadians here in the second period. Not many. It's been a close checking game, if you will, at a high pace. And now Subban with it. His second of back-to-back games for both clubs. Desharnais with it. Markov. Subban stops it with a left skate, looks it over. Back to Markov. Subban. Big windup. Oh, my. Blocked by Glass. But he gets back up. He's hobbled. Another shot. Glass went down again to block it. Markov to Subban. He fired her wide. And Glass was ready to block that one, too. And those are big bombs. He is firing. Markov. Subban again with a blast. And again, Tanner Glass sacrifices his body to block it. Subban again now. To Markov. 8 seconds to go on the penalty. They work it down low. Pacioretty to the goal. Blocker save made. Gallagher there looks for the rebound. Pushes it to the net. Not a lot on it. And Fleury able to freeze in another penalty coming up. Look at this battle.
Well, there's a battle going on in front right now. Marc-Andre Fleury lost the stick. Subban, he wants to go in beyond the top of the circle, and he just stopped. The faceoff would have come outside. If Subban goes in there, they push him back. And I'll tell you, Tanner Glass, if he had to withstand any more rubber, he was going to, I don't know, he would have run out of body parts. Subban had 2 blocked by Tanner Glass. The first one off the glove really hurt him off the right hand. Oh, boy. Those are hard shots, 100-mile-an-hour slap shots, and that one off the right foot for Tanner Glass.
Bob, what's the best way to deal with that?
Get closer to the man. I mean, that's the only way you can prevent him from shooting the puck like that is, decrease that distance between you and Subban. It's hard, though, because then you're going to give the middle of the ice open, and Tanner Glass is really hurting, folks. I mean, your glove, yeah, there's protection there, but remember, Adam Graves slashed Mario Lemieux as well as the timeout is called by the Canadians, and there's only so much protection in that glove. Gerard Gallant is working with that power play unit right there. That's the man in the middle of the screen, the ex-Detroit Red Wing.
Tanner Glass was calling for the trainer there. I think he wanted to...
he might have to go to the... I don't know.
I think he just wanted something to freeze that hand or whatever it was that hit.
Yeah, you got hit. Yeah, it's being looked at right now. I mean, that hurts.
Yeah, there's Stewie. There's Stewart, the Penguins trainer, and he's looking at that right hand. That was probably about a 95 to 100 mile an hour slap shot that was right off the right hand.
And he's down to one knee to turn to the body kind of sideways, and you have no idea. I mean, I don't know how these guys do it. It's tough.
Sutter out of the box. Oh my, quick shot taken. And Fleury able to make the save. I was looking at Sutter coming out trying to pick the pocket of the Canadian, and they shot it to the net. And now here's Paul Martin. Paul Martin headmans the puck off the stick of Sutter to center ice. Well, the Penguins come up with a penalty kill, but now they're right back on the penalty kill again as Gibbons is in the box. So the Canadians, they want to make good on this if they can. They had a timeout. They want to score. And they'd like to get a 2-goal lead. That would be a big lead for them. They don't score a lot of goals, and they don't give up a lot of goals. They play low-scoring, tight games under Michael Therrien. That's kind of their history anyway.
There's a switch. Subban's going to switch now. He and Markov.
Desjardins with it. Closes in. Penguins keeping him to the outside. Adams now blocks the shot. Now it's his turn with Subban up at the center point. Wristing it to the net. Through traffic, Fleury makes sure he controls the rebound, and Brooks Orpik says to Brendan Gallagher, get the heck out of here.
Get out of here. You want to keep yourself free as a defenseman. You want to give as much abuse to that player in front as you can. Look at Fleury had to use his glove hand to try to knock Gallagher out of the way. He missed that wrist shot. Subban finally opting for the wrist shot to get a shot through, as the slap shots were being blocked, 3 of them. So that wrist shot, it's obvious it's quicker to get away, and he was able to find a lane with it.
Danny Briere takes the face-off against Sidney Crosby out here to win a big draw on the penalty kill. And the Canadians control it. Diaz with it. Now Crosby finds himself on the ice in a penalty-killing situation in the defensive zone. There's Galchenyuk has the puck to the near side, and Lars Eller. Galchenyuk, Eller, and Briere up front. And Diaz sneaking in the back door over on the far side. Eller moves it up top. Julian with it. Eller, Diaz, slap shot, saved, and a rebound is controlled again by Fleury. No rebound. Day Automotive brings you a great day for hockey. And there's the guy who's familiar to Penguins fans who followed them back in the 74-75 season when they had such a great year, Gary Innes. He had one really great season for the Penguins. He stopped 30 shots from the Kings for his second career shutout on this day in '74.
A scary mask right there. A scary mask.
Big shot by Markov. And the pass stop made by Fleury.
Flurry time, isn't it? In
Yes,
this
it is,
second
Bob.
period. Oh, he's been huge on his penalty kills.
But Subban's got it again, trying to come to the net. Near side, a drive, and that was partially blocked by Adams. And the Penguins Orpik try to clear. Adams with a tough play on the wall, but they can't get it out. Markov over to Subban, fakes the shot. Subban lets it go. Fleury the save, rebound. Stays out of the net somehow. Bodies around that goal now. Over to the left side, it's Subban again, spinning away from Adams. He'll work it in deep. Reaching for the puck is Paul Martin. 1 second to go on the penalty. Here comes Gibbons out of the box. He's up ice as Sutter brings it to center ice, and he can't get it deep. Lars Eller looks for the puck, and he ends up deep in his own zone. Spins away from Sutter. The Penguins change. As the Canadians come to center ice, it's Lars Eller dumping it in. He wants to go to the bench. Now the Canadians shuffle the deck as the Penguins set up from their own zone. Letang spinning away from Gianta. Ahead down to Jokinen. Jokinen looks far side. And Neal fan on the attempt to get it deep, but Mata does to Malkin. Malkin there, turns the cage, centers for Jokinen, that goes right by him. Now it's Mata with it. To Letang, back over to Mata. The shot, kicked out, rebound on Neal. Couldn't shoot it, he was checked at the last second by Yemelin. Behind the net, Malkin with it again. Malkin to Jokinen. The Penguins getting a good shift here after the penalty kills, but they just could not get that puck behind Carey Price. And now James Neal with it. To Jokinen, but it's going to be an offside play on the Penguins.
Well, after Glass put on a blocking display, Subban, 1 fake, 2 fakes. Got to stay on your feet. PK Subban over the bench, matching up against Sidney Crosby, who's 3-11 in the faceoff circle tonight. Not good numbers for 87 Crosby, and Chris Letang has a pair of shots in the hockey game, as well as Subban, and I think Chris Letang has played a tremendous hockey game here on the blue line for the Penguins. He's been very active, joined rushes, made a couple of good plays. He's been good defensively on the penalty kill end with the stick on the puck. A couple of Norris candidate, great defenseman, and of course Subban winning that Norris Trophy last year.
And the puck is bouncing behind the cage, taken by Ole Mata ahead to Sidney Crosby. Now to the right wing, and Pascal Dupuis, who dumps it to the right wing corner and gets in after. Penguins would love to get on the board here before the end of the period, rather than go to the third trailing. And the puck is going to be shot in by Markov off the boards. Fleury stops it behind the net for Letang. And Letang will start it up, skating beautifully, looking for Crosby. It goes by him to Kunitz. Back to the corner to Crosby. Try to return the puck to Kunitz. It will be cleared by PK Subban and back to center.
There's Mata keeping the puck up the wall.
There's Kunitz dumping it into the Canadian zone.
As he drifted back for Mata, not putting it up the middle of the ice.
Markov with it. Galchenyuk. Brandon Prust. Stepping up on him was Niskanen, and Kunitz dumps it to open space. Nobody there except for Lars Eller. And now the Canadians come 3 men strong. Brandon Prust can't field the bouncing puck. Back around near side. 2.5 minutes to go in the period. Malkin lost the puck. Galchenyuk's got it. Threw it off the side of the post. You can hear it ring up here. Eller moves it back to the point. Francis Bouillon wrists it towards the goal. Blocked away by Bortuzzo to Malkin. Ahead now to Kunitz. He throws it across the ice for Neal. He's got to go back and get it. And then he ends up dropping it off the Niskanen and up to Bortuzzo, who headmans it right past Jokinen. And this will be an icing call against the Penguins.
Yes, Jokinen didn't touch it last year. That would have been waved off, the icing. And let's take a look at what Marc-Andre Fleury, he's faced 23 Montreal saves. That one, the first one of the night. And White and Gallagher, a lot of traffic in front of Marc-Andre Fleury, but really his best work has come on 2 penalty kills in this second period of play for the Frenchman, Marc-Andre Fleury.
Desharnais with Malkin leaning on him. Working the puck free is Bortuzzo. Jams it to the far corner where Neal will take it. Neal fires it up the boards. Beautiful head man pass to Jokinen. Jokinen, though, has no help as he shoots it. Gets it back and shoots it wide.
Boy, that was a great breakout play from Neal deep in his own zone.
But look out, here comes Gallagher. And the Canadians are offside as they enter the Penguins zone. 1:38 to go in the period.
And the Canadians only had 4 guys on the ice. They were in the midst of a change. They kind of got mumbled up there, and this is Jokinen taking that long feed from Neal and following up after the shot was blocked by Diaz. Diaz did a pretty good job staying with Jokinen there, and those guys haven't been on the ice a lot with the penalty kills.
Jokinen's gone 6 games without a goal, Bob. I think that's the most he's gone without a goal in a Penguin uniform.
Has to be the way he was.
Yeah, he's scoring about every 3 games or so on average. And now the puck is driven in by Josh Georges. Around the horn it comes. Orpik just got a piece of it to steer it to the line no further. Emelin able to hold it into the corner. The Canadians go to work again. One thing the Penguins don't want to have happen is a goal to be scored against them here before the end of the period to make it even that much more difficult to come back in the third. Trying to maintain at least this 1-0 score at this point with only 1:11 to go in the period. Puck is dumped in. Price fanned on it as it came around. D'Agostini in front, Sutter. And the Sutter was ducking out of the way of Price, who got a stick up in the air.
Price got his stick in there, was able to deflect that cross-crease pass. What happened was he thought it was going to be nice. He hesitated. He got out there late to stop the puck. Therefore, he missed it. Okay? He thought it was going to be a nice. Then it's waved on. He's a little late getting to the back of the net. He couldn't stop that one. And watch his stick right there. He's able to deflect that cross-crease pass, helping himself out, not allowing it to get to the tape of Sutter, who really, he had to jump. He had to duck out of the way.
Michael Farber, the great writer for Sports Illustrated, once referred to Price as laconic, which means kind of lazy or lazy looking anyway. There's Letang unable to hold it in, but Price is so composed and calm in the net. Does, I think, permeate through their team. And now Kunitz ahead of Crosby trying to settle it down. He turns the corner. Subban pushing him from behind as Crosby finds Letang. Letang to cross now. Mata with a drive. Price gobbles it up.
And PK Subban shields out Crosby from getting to the net. Penguins are trying to get to the kitchen of Carey Price. Look at Subban. He's got that assignment. Whack, hack, whack, hack, whack. And he's just going to mirror Sidney Crosby, staying between Crosby and the net. That's the key. Don't get on your toes, or don't get on, you want to stay kind of in the middle of your feet, Staggy. Not on the heels, not on the toes. You don't want to get rocking back or forward, because Crosby will use that to his advantage. And you also don't want to get right on his hip, because he'll roll right off your hip like that. He'll feel you, and he'll feel the weakness and be able to roll off you. So you just give him a little bit of space, but stay between him and the net.
And every defenseman or good defenseman seems to welcome a challenge.
He really uses his stick, doesn't he? Subban, whack, whack, whack. I mean, he's getting away with a lot of little chops there.
A little bit of an agitating style, like Rolf Samuelsson almost, like little pushes from behind. And
they're great to have guys like that on your team, but you don't like to play against them. And they talk too.
And smile a lot. Now here's Paul Martin with it. Over to Chris Letang, and a long lead pass is going to be taken by the Canadian Subban. One guy who doesn't seem to love Subban, at least publicly it looks that way, is Michael Therrien. I don't know if that's true. But he's not running a popularity contest either as the period comes to an end. Here we go again. Saturday night date in Montreal between the Penguins and the Canadians.
Subban's got Crosby, and Malkin's got Subban from behind. Crosby trying his best just to ignore PK Subban as much as he possibly can. But, I saw Sergio Momesso in the food room here before the hockey game, and I reached around and grabbed his nose. That's what was going on right there. Subban was reaching around and grabbing Crosby's schnoz. That's a stinky glove.
But Momesso's nose was a lot bigger to grab than Sid's. Let's go to Paul and Jay for our second intermission.
All right, guys, thank you very much. And we do have one goal in this game. It belongs to Montreal, and give the Canadians credit. They had the better of it in that second period.
Yeah, they did. And some of the things that were going on were turnovers. We talked about making Montreal go the distance, and that didn't happen. A lot of times turnovers are giving them in the neutral zone. They're going the other way, right off the jump. I mean, transition games, tough in the NHL, and you turn over, you're going to get burned. And it led to penalties and certainly led to the goal.
Penguins did kill a couple of penalties, but they did give up the lone goal of this game so far. It's 1-0 Montreal through 2 periods of play. Jay will tell us straight. We're going to hear from Brandon Sutter when we come back on our Mercedes second intermission report. Stay with us.
A little 4-on-4 action as Kunitz is in the box for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And for Montreal, it's Brendan Gallagher. And Marc-Andre Fleury, you got to think, has got to shut the door from here on in. That first goal is so pivotal, so important in these games.
And what were the numbers, Bob? Did you check them out on the...
Well, my memory served me right. It was
I'll check them out
3
here
and
for you.
7.
How about that, Bobby? The Penguins are 12-1 when they score first. The Canadiens 10-2, and when the Canadiens are leading after 2 periods, they are 11-0-1. And when the Penguins are trailing after 2 periods, they're 1-5. 4-on-4 hockey, so a little more ice to work with here to start the third period. Penalties at the 20-minute mark to Chris Kunitz and Brendan Gallagher. And here are the Penguins starting out of their own zone. The foursome for the Penguins, Evgeny Malkin and James Neal, Paul Martin and Brooks Orpik. Josh Georges and Alexei Yemelin for the Canadiens. Lars Eller and Max Pacioretty up front. And Eller, a big rangy forward, comes to the line and it's poked away from him by Orpik. Skating back forward is Josh Georges. Malkin trying to take it away from him. Georges did a good job to protect the puck, and ahead for Pacioretty. Here comes Pacioretty shooting, and he fired it high. And then right to the net went Pacioretty, and he bumped into Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah, Fleury could have maybe tried to buy something there. Not sure if he wanted to throw himself back and launch himself there to try to draw a penalty or not. Pacioretty just barely touched him as he stopped right in that crease.
Here's Subban with it to the net. Fleury the save. Gionta to the rebound. Right back to Subban, who drags it into the middle. Uses that right arm to protect the puck against Gibbons. Now it's Markov to Plekanec, and he scores.
Now 4-on-4s, defensemen are always very active in these situations. The puck rotates out to Subban, and he's able to protect that puck. And Markov finds that seam. Plekanec, really quick release. When he gets this puck, he wastes little time. Markov looks to the net. He goes to Plekanec, who stops it on the backhand, snaps it on the forehand right through the wickets of Marc-Andre Fleury. And oh boy, it's a mountain now for the Penguins to climb.
That one really hurts.
Well,
Markov and Subban picking up the assists.
we got a lot going on here right now. A lot of yapping between Plekanec and Sidney Crosby. And they kicked Sidney Crosby out of this face-off. After the conversation between Plekanec and Sidney Crosby after that goal, the referee, Paul Dvorsky, told Sidney Crosby to get out of the face-off.
Plekanec again with a drive wide of the goal, and Sid goes back to get the puck. Sends it back around behind the net for Letang. And the Penguins have a lot of work to do now and a lot of time to get it done. But not easy against this Canadiens team that doesn't give up a lot of goals. And they can't be turning pucks over at the blue line against them. Here goes Letang back into his own zone to get it with Gionta taking it away. Tries to come in front. It goes off the butt end of Fleury's stick. And the Penguins able to retain possession as Niskanen drops it off to Chris Letang. And Letang will carry to center. And into the Montreal zone. Letang. For Sid. Back in front. Oh, poked wide of the goal by Malkin. He just couldn't get the puck towards the net there. Now Malkin with it again across. Bortuzzo works it back into the corner. Kunitz and Gallagher come on the ice. 5-on-5 hockey as Bouillon sends it all the way back up into the Penguin zone. Bortuzzo back to get it. Desharnais on him. Back around to the other side where it'll be taken by Letang. And ahead now for Malkin. It goes right by him. Now he got to go off his stick, and Pacioretty with it with a step. Shoots and scores.
Wow, what a shot release. Very similar, not from the same spot, but that backhand, forehand, quick release again. This one off the stick of Max Pacioretty. Puck comes up the wall, Malkin can't handle it. Look at how quick that is. For Pacioretty to get that puck in a shooting position around Letang. Look at this. There's not a lot of room there. There's sticks, there's skates, and Pacioretty in flight is able to make that kind of move, backhand to forehand, and almost from the feet of Letang, snap it by the far side of Marc-Andre Fleury.
It was almost as though Fleury expected Letang to make the play there, and when he didn't, that shot was on him so quickly he couldn't react to it at times.
I couldn't believe that he was able to get that shot away with that kind of velocity, to be quite honest with you. The angle he was at on the backhand initially, there's no way he should have been able to turn that to the forehand and have it released with that kind of pace.
Pacioretty, he's a guy when he gets hot, he's hot. There's a save there as the Penguins able to clear back to center, and Diaz with it. So now all of a sudden you're down 3-0 to the Montreal Canadiens, who've held opponents to 2 or fewer in 6 straight hockey games. And the Penguins, of course, are capable of lighting it up, but they haven't been prone to be able to come back in games like this in recent games. And Lars Eller now after the puck. It's unfortunate because you had yourself a great hockey game that in a matter of a couple of minutes has become somewhat lopsided in the grand scheme of things. Now here's Jokinen. And he's stripped of the puck. Another turnover at the neutral zone, and Alexei Yemelin goes the other way. Over to the near side where it's taken by Jokinen. Sends it back around for Orpik. Off the wall it goes where Adams is run into by Brandon Prust. Paul Martin's got it at center. Over to Jokinen. Jokinen looked for Vitale. And it'll be taken by Josh Georges. Georges lifts it out to center, hits a skate. Jokinen trying to play it, but an offside call. What's on store for on tap for the Penguins? Our Nissan Road Ahead will tell you. And we're going to Boston tonight after the game and play the Bruins on Monday night. That'll be another very tough game. And then home to play the Toronto Maple Leafs. Excellent games, all 3 coming up. And then down to Florida. Penguins going to Tampa, actually flying to Tampa on Thanksgiving Day. We'll play 2 games there in that state. Now back to the puck is Ole Mata. Ahead to Sidney Crosby. For Chris Kunitz. Kunitz back for Sid. Good goal. The save made by Price. I like the way the Penguins got that puck out of their own zone. Perfectly executed breakout, and Crosby came all the way to the net. Here he is again. Crosby, he had the room to look at the net there and didn't realize it. It was a lane open for him. He went back to Mata, who turns the page. He throws it in front, loose puck. Dupuis chops at it, and it goes to the corner.
Going to be a penalty here, and Sidney Crosby, he stopped up, and PK Subban, he continued to slide into the corner, giving Crosby ample time to make a play with that puck or take it to the net. He made the pass instead, and Crosby is just flying, coming from behind to join that rush in the neutral zone. Gionta's going to take the penalty, a hook out in front, but Sidney Crosby, there's still some gas left in the tank for Crosby. He hasn't given up yet. He's trying to lead his team back in this. Mata goes to the front of the net. There's the hook into the hands. You can clearly see it. Gionta in front on pass to Dupuis, and this is a huge power play for Pittsburgh. And the referee just went down hard on his backside after the faceoff is going to have to be redone.
It's Johnny Murray. Penguins 0 for 2 with a man advantage in this game.
Chris Kunitz actually went in there and asked him if he was okay. You could see that. He said, I'm fine.
This is a gentleman. Except to goalies. Paul Martin has the puck now, and here he comes on the power play for the Penguins, a UPMC Sports Medicine power play. Crosby to Malkin. Cross to Kunitz. Kunitz wheels with a blast, and that was blocked. Put in, Martin again. To Crosby. Sid fakes it. Malkin takes it. Wide of the goal. Martin to the puck. Travis Moen up top along with Ryan White on the penalty kill for the Canadiens. Back to the net by Crosby. Price handled that easily. Crosby has it again. Kunitz goes to the front of the net.
Georges no stick. Now he's got one from the forward.
Travis Moen gave it to him. Paul Martin with a puck to Malkin. To Neal, a drive, he scores! Oh, what a rising rocket that was on Carey Price. And the Pittsburgh Penguins are on the board. A power play goal for James Neal.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. Here we come, the Pittsburgh Penguins and James Neal. When you talk about a rising, wicked one-timer, As the Penguins go back to the top, look at that feed. That was just a beautiful feed by Malkin. It was flat. It was on the table, and Georges, who was using the stick of Moen, can't stop that. And because Moen didn't have a stick, that made it a little bit easier for Martin to rotate that puck back to Evgeny Malkin on the top of that diamond, if you will. Wow, that was some really good stuff, but you got to have nice flat passes so that Neal can finish it off in that kind of form and fashion. And that was a rocket shot. You talk about Subban, and we did in the second period, his power play velocity and his shots. Is there any better than that, man? James Neal. I mean, you look at forwards in the National Hockey League, players that are able to pick that top corner on the power play like that.
That was a thing of beauty. Now the defenseman PK Subban under a little pressure in the neutral zone. Can the Penguins get some momentum here, get another one quickly, and really get the Canadians thinking? That's what their goal is right now. They finally get on the board, down 3-1. Pacioretty moves it through the middle. Back to get it goes Brooks Orpik. And around now for Chris Letang, who hustles over to try to play it. Sutter deep in his own zone, sent it up the wall, and is chipped ahead down by Dupuis. Racing to the puck is Jokinen. Letang is trailing on the play. Dupuis heading to the net. PK Subban has the puck, and there he goes. To Pacioretty. And an offside play on the Canadians. Congratulations to James Neal.
Now there's the captain and NHL's leading scorer, Sidney Crosby, and PK Subban. Been on the ice when Crosby has elbows flying and gloves and fists and sticks and legs and whatever you can get on Crosby. Subban has been there like Velcro. We've had conversation as well. Crosby just tried to ignore him, even at the end of that second period, Stag, when Crosby lost his helmet. He didn't even look at Subban.
Sid trying to do the Henrik Zetterberg impersonation. Remember the Red Wings, how they were like that? Sid said it was creepy the way they wouldn't look at you back in 08 when the Penguins went to the finals.
Oh, he learned something.
Tough to ignore PK Subban, I would think. Now working hard in his own zone as Sutter pries the puck free. Canadians just trying to keep that puck in the Penguin zone and try to kill clock time now. Fleury puts the paddle down to stop Desharnais at the side of the net, and here come the Penguins out of their own zone. Jokinen backhands it into the middle to Olli Maatta. He'll retreat and hand it off to Matt Niskanen. Penguins are changing as Niskanen waits for reinforcements. They'll move it to the right wing to Matt D'Agostini, and he steers it up into the Canadian zone where Price sent it around to the corner to Emila. He was hit on the play by Gibbons, and now the puck comes squirting back towards the Penguin zone where Paul Martin takes it. Barzella on him, and there's Malkin in good position to take the pass from Martin. Right back to Paul Martin, and he'll skate now to move that puck to Neal. Off to Gino, back to Neal. Back for Gino behind the net. Malkin moves it out to Letang on his backhand. He works at the Paul Martin, who's also on his backhand. He tries to one-handed into the middle. Protects the puck nicely here. Two Canadians on Martin, and he couldn't get the puck to Malkin. Letang comes swooping over to try to get the play, and now Eller ends up with it. And Eller back to Markov, and Markov with a bank pass off the end boards, but it's taken by Paul Martin. Gibbons has Neal up ahead. Can he get on the puck? Here's Neal trying to get around the referee. Looks for Letang, and the pass went behind him. And Eller back. And get a man going to the net, but it's going to be offside. That man was Daniel Briere, but he was ahead of the play.
Been some great breakouts here, and Malkin's been involved, instrumental in many of them. Getting back, look at that outlet. Boy, I can't believe Martin was able to go right up the ice to Malkin. Malkin back to Martin. The puck comes back to Gino, and Gino's in full flight. And that's what we talked about. He's playing boards to boards, end to end, behind his net, behind Carey Price. I mean, Evgeny Malkin. So what's that thing you put on you that keeps track of all the miles that you would?
A pedometer.
Pedometer. Have you ever tried one of those?
No, I have no reason to. Here's Crosby with it. Over to Kunitz, a shot. That's deflected, and then Dupuis went to the net trying to jam it in on the backhand and couldn't reach the puck. Now it's Crosby carrying to center. And now he can't gain the zone. And the Canadians go in transition. And Gianna shot it off of Orpik. Mata, and a Siemens cross there with Fleury. Now Kunis able to make sure he gets the puck in his own zone. 11:01 to go in the third period. The Penguins down by 2. A lot of time left. The Penguins need to get the next goal. Orpik ahead for Vitale off his stick. He'll hunt it down into the corner. Vitale gets body position on Markov. Dupuis follows on. Loose puck came right in front. And Price smothers it with that big trapper.
Well, Vitale getting on. We haven't seen much of Joe Vitale in the hockey game. The Penguins on the board here, giving the Montreal Canadiens a price, maybe a little hesitation, a little thought here. Bo Bennett out of the lineup last night. We're not sure how he got injured and whether it's going to be days or more than that.
He was hit by a shot very early in the game on one of the first shifts of the hockey game. He was in front of the net. And the shot hit him. I don't know if that's what it was or not. He played the rest, most of the rest of the game to the third period, but then had to leave. Going back into his own zone comes Ole Mata. Mata leaves it there for Matt Niskanen. Taken now by D'Agostini into the middle for Sutter. Sutter into the Montreal zone. Swooping to his left. D'Agostini goes to the front of the net and can't make a play. Canadians good defensive work. Get Brendan Gallagher. Sent Pacioretty away. Now to Desharnais. Back for Pacioretty. In front. Loose puck. And cleared away by Adams at the last second. And poked it below the goal line. Now Gallagher there. 3 Canadians in deep on the play.
Fleury sticks behind the net.
And the Penguins end up with it. Emerging with it is Sutter, and he'll just flick it back out to center.
Dangerous there. Pacioretty threw it in front. He's already got 2 in this game.
Puck is dumped into the Penguin zone. Back to get it is Niskanen. Takes a piece of Travis Moen and then knocks him down. Moen back up. Slides the puck along the kickboard, and Letang will go get it. Able to get it up to the wall, but now the Canadians have it again. PK Subban wheeled it off the boards to center. The Penguins have it. Try to go in quick transition here as Malkin's got it. Gino gives ground on Gorneval. Carries into the zone, but offside of the Penguins. Malkin not happy. And why should he be? The Penguins are down by 2. Time for our Subway sandwich of the game. As we look at Brooks Orpik, you can imagine he must be part of it, right? Remember when he hit Gianta? And we could hear him all the way up here groaning in pain as Orpik delivered that stick right into his ribs and plastered him into the boards.
His old college teammate.
For Boston College, or as they call it, the Boston College.
Well, we got Crosby and Pakanich taking another face-off here.
Paul Martin is paired up with Letang here in the third period. Now it's Markov with it. He banks it ahead. You saw Orpik sitting on the bench. Those two are normally paired together.
Well, they need offense right now. They're down by 2.
Letang carries. Dupuis. Kunitz. Crosby to the goal. Gianta, good back check. Broke it up. Kunitz hit by Plekanec. Fires it into the corner, and Subban with a quick stick stops it. And shovels it out to center over the outstretched glove of Letang. Moen goes to the net. Here he is, and it's just out of his reach.
He gloved that puck down. Brian Gianta, grab that puck out of the air and put it down quick. You're not allowed to close your glove at all on a puck. And that was a long play by Subban, and Gianta flags it right out of the air. Grabs it, puts it down. I mean, he did it quickly, but he did it. And Moen getting banged up in front of Marc-Andre Fleury.
Travis Moen scored last night against the Capitals. Almost had another one there. That was his first goal of the year last night. Desharnais also had a goal. That was the first one in 21 games for him. He had been scratched a couple of games. Number 51 of the Canadians, who's on the ice right now.
Dan Biles was talking to the referee right now. See, and Dvorsky's saying, oh no, he had his palm open to flag that Subban, little launch pass, little rainbow pass.
Pacioretty able to backhand it into the Penguin zone. Desharnais to the puck. Back around for Brendan Gallagher. Brendan Gallagher comes from the Vancouver Giants, which is really not what he is. He's only 5'9", 170. His dad is the strength and conditioning coach of that team.
Isn't that where Lucic is from?
Neil shooting save made by Price. It was a nice save, too, because he made sure he kicked that puck away from the oncoming Penguins. Now Pacioretty with speed. Shot it off the side of the net. Desharnais looks for the puck. Bortuzzo's got it for the Penguins. Now the clock becoming the enemy of the Penguins. 8:20 to go. Sutter with it. George just cuts him off. Alexei Yemelin there looking for it. Penguins end up with a puck. Mata with a drive. Oh, deflected behind Price and wide of the goal. And picked up on the left wing by Desharnais. Tony Mata ahead for James Neal, who steered it into the Montreal zone. Price. Crust. Out to center. Look out. Agostini able to work it back to Niskanen, who headmans. And it is Vitali for D'Agostini. Gibbons goes towards the net. Agostini can't get him the puck, and Alexei Yemelin has it for Montreal. Well, you can really see the speed that Gibbons has. He can fly. He's got a nice long stride on him. Here's Lars Eller with it. Eller shoots it. Gibbons takes it. Trying to slip it ahead and couldn't get it out. Eller one-hands it along the board. They center for Galchenyuk. Good passing with the Canadians. To the side of the goal. Good chance for Eller, but Fleury held the post. Now Diaz whacks it into the corner, and Vitali there. Olimata will get the puck behind the net. The tough sledding out there for the Penguins here against this stingy defensive Montreal team.
Yeah, they get a good look at the fourth line. 7 minutes left, down by 2, and Bowser looking for them to create something. They had good, fresh legs.
Now Kunis looks for the puck. Crosby trying to play it here on the near wall. Sid has missed a lot of games against Montreal. 7 of the last 10 coming into this one. Sure, it's a thrill for him to play the Canadians, a team he rooted for when he was growing up in Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia. His dad, of course, was drafted by the Canadians. Here's a chance for Plekanec, and he can't play the puck cleanly, and Letang comes flying through there to take it ahead to Jokinen. Jokinen to Crosby. Crosby in the slot. Shot it off the blocker of Price. Jokinen tried to get it back to the net, and it ends up off a stick and up into the netting.
Well, Crosby was really flying. He wanted to hold on to that puck, but Plekanec was coming across, and he had to get rid of it quicker than he would have liked to. Olimata joining the rush, down by 2, standing up, and then trying to get involved. There's a good stick on puck. Stick. He's able to block it, and then he tries to jump up there offensively. That's what you want the defense doing. And there's Malkin with a good high pass with a center drive by the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Right off the draw, another clean face-off win. Malkin to Neal and Carey Price able to make the save. James Neal almost had his second of the game.
Well, the puck sat behind Malkin. He gave it another little nudge just to get it right into the shooting lane there for Neal, right in that slot. That shooting slot.
Neal waiting again as Malkin takes the draw. And this time the face-off is won by the Canadians. Danny Briere winning it. And now George is ahead. He comes through to Briere. Briere trying to control it now, and Letang over. Briere unable to get it deep, and the whistle blows. Now Sidney Crosby has a 4-point lead on Alex Ovechkin in the scoring race coming into the game tonight, 30 points. He's been held off the board so far by the Canadians.
That puck was blocked by the Penguins, believe Letang, just a foot inside the blue line. But because it was just a foot inside the blue line, the faceoff comes all the way down to the dot. You have to drop it at the dot. Unlike the old days, you could just drop it wherever you want it on the ice, based on where it went out over the glass. But here, it's got to go right to one of the dots, and it does. Deep in the Penguin zone to the left of Fleury.
Andre Fleury, 4-1-1 in his last 6 starts here in this building. He is down by 2 in this one to the Canadians.
Gibbons gets another look here, hoping that his speed can create something offensively for Pittsburgh.
Brooks Orpik has the puck. Look out. Trying to move it to Bortuzzo. Second chance, so it's Orpik and Bortuzzo paired up now for the Penguins. Brooks Orpik takes it. Breaks his stick as he tries to pass the puck. In that kind of night. And now Pacioretty goes back for it. 5:38 remaining in the game. Desharnais down the wing on his backhand. Has Gallagher in front of the net. Out here with Pacioretty as well. There's Diaz gunning one wide of the goal. Back around near side for Bouillon. And he dumps it in behind the net where Desharnais takes it. Off the side of the cage. Desharnais only 5'7", 170 pounds. Bouillon, as we said, 5'7". A lot of smallish players, 5'9", Gallagher. But they're playing big tonight, and they lead the Penguins 3-1. You enjoying a cold one? You should be, because it's Miller time. Brought to you by Miller Lite.
James Neal on that power play, that rocket shot. Carey Price is still looking for that. It was 3-0, now 3-1. And the Penguins are loading up with Crosby, Malkin, and Neal up front.
Plekanec shoves it to the far wall, and now it's taken by Paul Martin and over to Letang. And at center ice, Travis Moen clogging it up in that neutral zone. Now Crosby to Martin, where the Penguins could get one. I think you could have a very interesting last couple of minutes to this game. They're going to get one here, and then you really have some drama here, I think. Let's see if we can make it happen. As the puck comes back to center ice, taken by Sidney Crosby. He drops it off to Paul Martin. Out of the reach of Sid, but he keeps on coming. Looks for Neal, but Moen gets over and backhands it away to center where Gianta's got it. And Gianta will drive it long. Gianta, another smallish player out of BC at 5'7", 176 pounds. Stepping up is Markov. Can't find the puck, and Letang moves it back in behind the net. Paul Martin there. Taken now by Chris Letang, who skates out of his own zone and headmans the puck to Chris Kunitz. Kunitz into the Montreal zone, finds Crosby. Crosby drops it back. Niskanen fires it wide. Crosby gets it behind the net. Trying to shovel it in front. And now the Canadiens crust has it. And there goes the battle again. Down there between Crosby and PK Subban. The puck on the far wall, though. Squirts free for Kunitz. He can't keep it in.
There's Subban with whacks to the back of the knee, Crosby's knee.
And I'll tell you what, right now, it's getting out of hand. I mean, at some point, somebody's going to have to get after Mr. Subban before this game is over. And now it's taken by Brandon Sutter. You know, if the score remains where it is, then you know, maybe you can extract something out of this thing. Somebody's going to have to do something about it. He just took a shot at him over there as he was going to the bench again and kind of bumped him into the Montreal bench. Here goes Desharnais down the wing on his backhand. Centers it right through the slot to the near side. And wheeled back into the corner where Pacioretty has it. Brendan Gallagher shot it, deflected away, and back out to center.
There's some good battles going over there, and Crosby's taken a lot of, well, abuse, put it that way. And, you know, he's trying to ignore it. He's hoping the referees will take care of it. If they don't, then somebody else has got to take care of it sometime. I don't know when the time is. They're still in a hockey game right now with 3 minutes left. Subban's going to be on the ice one more time. And you're going to see these guys.
Malkin soaring to the goal. Backhand shot, Neal, he scores! James Neal to the net, and Malkin hit the boards hard. He's down. Hopefully he's going to be all right after driving to the net and setting up Neal. Malkin is really in some discomfort right now. He really crashed into the end boards.
Well, it takes a little more than a little of the excitement out of that goal. The Penguins only down by 1 here now, and that's why you don't take liberties on PK Subban. You still got a hockey game here.
And I said that.
The ultimate way is to win the game. That's the ultimate way to get back at somebody. And you know, you just hope that Malkin is okay. He went in unbelievably hard. What a play in front of the net. The Penguins just keep flying, and Sidney Crosby's looking at the replay.
And I have to say that, you know, Gino has done everything he can do to help this team here throughout. And one of the things you got to do is go to the net.
Look at it. He started that rush from behind his own end, behind his own net. Look at this. He went end to end to set up that goal. And then he was tripped up there after the finish. And what a finish it was by Neal. And you could just see he lost his footing. And you go hard into that wall straight on like that with the upper body.
It's reminiscent of last year when he went into the boards and suffered that concussion, Bob, when he was run into the wall by Goodbranson. Remember that?
Well, I'm just, yes, I totally remember it, but I'm just happy he's got that big, huge pad on his back. And we always talk about his jersey kind of comes over, you know, behind that. It goes all the way up. And he knew he was going into the wall there. But he did all he could to get as much of his body across to absorb that blow. I mean, that was a real high-speed collision with the boards. And you're not usually going to win that one.
Thankfully, Gino appears to be okay. And now Dupuis runs right over Subban behind the net. Crosby trying to get to the puck. Letang over. And we do have a dramatic situation now with 2.5 minutes remaining and the Penguins down by 1. James Neal has scored both Penguin goals. And Paul Martin with a puck. Out to Pascal Dupuis. Hard pass to the left wing, too hard for Kunitz. And that's an icing call against the Penguins.
And just prior to the 3-2 goal by Neal, who's got both Penguins goals, this is what Crosby. Take a look at the stick of Subban as this moves up the wall. Subban's going to give him a whack behind the knee, and then he's going to give him a little spear in the right there, a hook on the elbow. And that kind of stuff doesn't feel good. And then Crosby's going to make his way to the bench. And let's see where he goes. He's going to end up with the goaltender. Now, hey, the goaltender's saying, hey, you're on the wrong side. You can't be over there. And the goalie actually grabbed Crosby's stick to back up goaltender Budak. And there goes Dupuis. Oh, boy.
He was open. Kunitz didn't get in the puck. But here he comes down the left wing. Kunitz shoots it. And it's blocked up into the netting. And a face-off coming up in the Montreal zone.
Now, the Canadiens, they hung on last night against the Caps. And they're hanging on right now against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Malkin comes back on the ice.
Thankfully,
that goal by James Neal. He's sitting up for this, setting up right behind Malkin on his faceoff. When you are able to turn it and deke a goaltender at that kind of speed, Neal did that. Those are soft hands.
Malkin this time pushes it forward, goes to get it behind the net, falls down. Jokin looks for puck. Malkin with a wraparound, stopped by Price, and the rebound squirts to the far side. Neal over to get it. Back to the net, Malkin again in front. Backhand shot. Price with a paddle down, made the save. Now it's Niskanen with it. Now Niskanen holds it. Neal with a blast. Stopped by Price. Rebound, loose puck. Canadiens able to clear. Neal will go back for it. 1:39 to go in this hockey game. The Penguins down by 1. And it's Markov with it for the Canadiens. Ahead to Galchenyuk. Now to Subban. Back to Galchenyuk. Galchenyuk in the Penguin zone. Gallagher. And a power move on Mata, who kept him to the outside. Gallagher killing time in the corner.
Yeah, you got to get the puck and call a timeout. Get your big boys back on the ice. Malkin, it just went off. Oh, that was a big shit there by Gallagher. Ragged about 15 seconds.
And now Pacioretty will flip it to the line.
Oh, they called offside.
Yeah, they did call offside. We'll get a face-off in the neutral zone.
That's big. How about that glove down there? The Penguins, I think they're going to call a timeout here. There's a glove in the net. Carey Price is net. Josh Georges was clawed by the hand of Evgeny Malkin as Malkin was fighting tooth and nail to try to get to the front of the net here, and I would expect a timeout. I'm not sure if Miles is waiting until the last second here or not. No, he's not going to call it yet. They want an offensive zone faceoff, and he wants Fleury. He's waving to Fleury. Come on out, Fleury. Fleury's moving out right now. He's at the hash marks, and if they get this faceoff, well, they got it behind the net, so they do have possession. I think Fleury, he'll make his way. He'll follow this puck out of the zone.
Martin with a long lead pass to Kunitz. A bit of a step this time on Subban. He stops up. Kunitz looks back in front of that. Neal was heading that way, but the Canadiens broke it up. And back into the Penguin zone it goes, and Martin will go get it. And it is an icing call. And we'll have a face-off in the Montreal zone. 50.6 to go.
Fleury's on the bench. 50.6, a big face-off, and the Penguins will call their timeout here now with the face-off. Going to be to the left of Carey Price. And let's take a look at James Neal and what he has done. 7 shots. He's attempted 13 shots in this hockey game. That one there on a platter and made it 3-1. Price is still looking around for it. And look at this, Malkin, end to end. And the play and the collision at the end of this.
Ooh.
Boy. It's 3-2, and you'd love to see James Neal complete this with the natural hat trick. Another big face-off. Crosby hasn't been great in the face-off circle. He may try to win this puck on his forehand to the wall, and you'll see Gino or Neal on the wall block off that Montreal Canadian defenseman who would be over there with him. We'll see if that's what the Penguins try to do. That's normally what they would try to do. Malkin's on the far wall. And the reason he's there is because if the Canadiens win the face-off and try to rim it around, he can keep the puck in the offensive zone.
4 of the last 5 games between these two teams in this building have gone to overtime.
Neal's got to block out Subban. That's where the battle's going to be won here. Neal's got to jump. This faceoff's going there somewhere. It's going to be a battle between Neal and Subban.
Subban to the puck, wraps it around, Malkin over like you said, but he couldn't hold it in. It bounces back out the center.
Now he got it on the dasher, so Malkin couldn't, that little 4-inch ledge, he couldn't get his hip in there.
Now it's Letang with it, ahead for Neal, and he can't take the puck with him. The Canadians have an empty net to work with, and a shot is wide of the cage. Malkin will take it with 28 seconds to go. One more opportunity for the Penguins, perhaps, as they move it to center. Sidney Crosby crisscrossing with Letang. Crosby down the right side of the Montreal zone. Nobody in the net right now. Crosby holds it, drops it back. Malkin with it, shoots it. It's blocked. He gets it back. Bouncing puck, 12 seconds to go. And a penalty coming up.
Yeah, Neal put his stick into the waist of Markov, who was going to get to that puck, and Markov clenched down and went down, and that may do it as Crosby is in conversation with the Canadians, as well as Chris Kunitz down there. Take a look at the penalties. The puck came to the stick of Markov. He was going to get to this puck here, and there you see the hook.
No, that hurts.
And the faceoff comes all the way back to the Penguin zone, so it's a double whammy, isn't it? Conversation, Gianta.
By the way, Bob, the Canadians have not been good in one-goal games. They're only 3-6-2. This is a bit of a step forward for them if they can hang on and win it 3-2. Eller to take the draw against Sutter. Penguins control. One more rush, and they got to hurry. 5 seconds to go. Offside call. Or was it a hand pass? Yes.
Only 2.2, so it's pretty academic here.
Right after the postgame tonight, the AA game between Aliquippa and South Fayette was a great game that went down to the wire. And that will air right after postgame here on Root Sports. So be sure to stay tuned. After postgame, we'll have 2 games for you, but that AA game was the first one. It was a great one. And we hope you enjoy. Hope you enjoyed this game, too. Even though the Penguins fell behind, fought back, and you're just going to come up short here tonight in Montreal. The Canadians have won 4 out of 5. The Penguins' 3-game winning streak comes to an end. A rare win, actually, for the Canadians. The Penguins have gone 6-0-1 in their last 7 here in Montreal, but the Canadians finally win. James Neal, nevertheless, is our McDonald's player of the game, scoring both Penguin goals here tonight.
Now you see how deadly he is. I mean, as good as James Neal was for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he certainly was, Pacioretty on the other side of things, he had a couple of beautiful goals, shots in flight. So a couple of sharpshooters on both sides.
Dan Bylsma walking off. There's 5 wins in this building, but not tonight. Let's go to Paul and Jay.